The war room fell silent as the holographic display flickered to life. Grand Admiral Verthax of the Kelrani Empire stood at the center of the circular chamber, his four arms crossed tightly against his armored chest. Around him sat the most decorated military minds of the Galactic Coalition. 12 species, 47 admirals, and countless centuries of combined combat experience. None of them were prepared for what they were about to witness. This footage was captured 3 standard cycles ago, Verthax began, his deep voice echoing through the chamber. Our patrol fleet encountered a human convoy near the Nexus border. What you are about to see has been verified by 17 independent analysis teams. It is not fabricated. It is not manipulated. It is real. He pressed a button on his command console. The holographic display expanded to fill the entire room, surrounding the assembled commanders with the cold darkness of space. Stars glittered in the background. A Kelrani battle group of 30 vessels held formation in the center of the image. Their sleek, arrow-shaped hulls were positioned in the standard defensive pattern that had won them 100 wars. Then the human ships appeared. At first, there were only 5 of them. Small vessels by Coalition standards. Their design was crude, almost primitive-looking. Boxy hulls covered in strange protrusions and antenna arrays. No elegant curves, no streamlined profiles. They looked like they had been welded together in a junkyard. Our fleet commander at the time was Admiral Crixenol, Verthax explained. He had 40 years of service. He had never lost an engagement. He ordered standard interception protocols. On the display, the Kelrani ships began to move. Their engines flared with controlled power as they adjusted their vectors to intercept the human vessels. The mathematics of space combat were universal. Every species in the galaxy understood them. Momentum, acceleration, orbital mechanics. These were the laws that governed warfare among the stars. No amount of technology could change them. The human ships did not attempt to flee. They did not alter course. They simply continued forward as if the 30 warships bearing down on them were nothing more than dust particles. Watch carefully, Verthax said. The first impossible thing happened at exactly 43 seconds into the footage. The lead human vessel, a ship no larger than a Kelrani light cruiser, suddenly changed direction. Not gradually. Not with a slow arc, as its engines compensated for its existing momentum. It simply went from traveling in one direction to traveling in another. A perfect 90-degree turn at full speed. Gasps filled the war room. Admiral Vesix of the Vormok Republic rose from her seat, her feathered crest standing rigid with shock. That is not possible, she declared. The inertial forces alone would tear any vessel apart. The crew would be liquefied against the walls. Continue watching, Verthax replied grimly. The human ship completed its impossible turn and accelerated directly toward the Kelrani formation. The Kelrani commander ordered evasive maneuvers. His ships began to scatter according to standard doctrine. Spread the formation. Deny the enemy a concentrated target. Basic tactics that every cadet learned in their first year of military academy. The human ship accelerated again. But this time, the numbers on the display made several admirals cry out in disbelief. The vessel was pulling acceleration forces that would reduce any known material to atomic paste. 20 gravities, 50 gravities, 100 gravities. The counter kept climbing until it exceeded the display's capacity to measure. Our sensors at this point began to malfunction, Verthax admitted. Or so we believed. We now know they were functioning perfectly. They simply could not process what they were recording. The human ship reached the Kelrani formation in seconds. A journey that should have taken minutes at safe acceleration levels. It weaved between the massive warships like a creature swimming through water. No thrust corrections. No visible engine burns. It moved as if the laws of physics were merely suggestions it could choose to ignore. Then it stopped. Not slowed, not decelerated over a reasonable distance. It simply stopped, hanging motionless in space directly in front of Admiral Crixnell's flagship. The relative velocity change was measured in kilometers per second. The human vessel should have been scattered across a debris field spanning light seconds. Instead, it floated there, completely undamaged, as if nothing had happened. Admiral Crixnell fired everything he had. The holographic display lit up with weapons fire. Plasma lances, kinetic projectiles, guided missiles, point defense lasers. 30 Kelrani warships unleashed enough firepower to crack a small moon. The space around the human vessel became a storm of destruction. When the firing stopped, the human ship remained exactly where it had been. Not because it had shields that absorbed the damage. Not because it had armor that deflected the attacks. The weapons simply missed. Every single one of them. The human vessel had moved. Tiny adjustments, impossibly precise, timed to avoid each incoming projectile by margins so small they could not be measured. It danced through the apocalyptic barrage like it was playing a game. At this point, Verthax said, the other 4 human vessels engaged. The war room watched in horrified silence as the remaining human ships demonstrated the same impossible capabilities. They moved through the Kelrani battle group like ghosts. One vessel performed what the analysis teams could only describe as a spiral inversion, somehow rotating around its own center while maintaining forward momentum in a direction that should have been perpendicular to its orientation. Another ship accelerated backward while facing forward, as if it had simply decided which direction was front and which was back. The Kelrani ships tried to retreat. Their commanders, veterans of countless battles, ordered full emergency acceleration away from the human vessels. Standard engines at maximum burn. A dignified withdrawal to regroup and report. The human ships appeared in front of them, not flew ahead, not predicted their course and intercepted. The human vessels simply appeared in their path as if they had always been there. The sensor log showed no transitional movement. One frame they were behind the Kelrani formation. The next frame they were blocking the retreat. We have no explanation for this, Verthax admitted. Our physics experts have reviewed the footage over 3,000 times. They have come up with 47 theories. None of them work. The humans should not be able to do this. Their ship should not be able to move this way. The universe should not allow it. Admiral Desix was still standing, her entire body trembling. Did they destroy the fleet? Verthax shook his head. No. They disabled every ship with precision strikes that somehow penetrated our shields without triggering them. Every vessel was crippled, but not destroyed. Not a single crew member was killed. When our rescue ships arrived, they found Admiral Crixnell sitting in his command chair, staring at nothing. He has not spoken since. The footage continued. The human ships gathered together, performed a series of maneuvers that made absolutely no sense from any tactical or navigational perspective, and then vanished. Not jumped to faster than light travel. Not accelerated beyond visual range. They simply ceased to exist in that location. We tracked residual energy signatures for approximately 2 light hours, Verthax said. Then we lost all trace of them. We do not know where they went. We do not know how they traveled. We do not know anything. A Thornaki admiral in the back of the room raised one of his manipulator tendrils. His species was known for their mathematical precision and cold logical analysis. Perhaps this is a weapons test. A demonstration of capability intended to prevent conflict through intimidation. That was our initial theory as well, Verthax agreed. We sent a diplomatic envoy to the human home system to discuss the incident, to negotiate, to understand, and the humans had no idea what we were talking about. Silence fell over the war room again. This time, it was not the silence of shock. It was the silence of pure, existential terror. Their government investigated at our request, Verthax continued. The vessels we encountered were not military ships. They were not government vessels. They were not even official exploration craft. They were civilian cargo haulers. private merchant ships carrying industrial supplies between colonies. The crew members were not trained pilots. They were not elite warriors. They were traders, merchants. 2 of them had never even left their home system before. Admiral Essex sat down heavily, her legs apparently unable to support her weight anymore. You are telling us that untrained human civilians in basic cargo ships can perform maneuvers that violate the fundamental laws of physics. I am telling you what the evidence shows. How? How is this possible? Verthax pulled up another display. This one showed a human vessel schematic that their intelligence services had obtained through considerable effort and sacrifice. The design was utterly unremarkable. Standard fusion reactors, basic propulsion systems, conventional hull materials. Nothing about the ship should have allowed it to do what they had witnessed. We believe, Verthax said slowly, that the humans themselves do not understand what they are doing. Their flight manuals contain no references to these capabilities. Their training programs do not teach these techniques. Their ship manufacturers do not design for these specifications. And yet, when placed in a high-stress situation, their vessels simply begin moving in ways that should be impossible. A Kelrani analyst stepped forward. She had been silent throughout the presentation, her eyes fixed on the frozen image of the human cargo ship. I have spent my entire career studying spacecraft dynamics, she said. I have analyzed the footage from every possible angle. I have run simulations, calculations, theoretical models. There is only one conclusion that fits the evidence, and that is, Verthax prompted. The humans are not breaking the laws of physics. They are operating under laws of physics that do not exist for the rest of us. Their universe has different rules. When they fly their ships, those rules apply. When we fly ours, our rules apply. We are not playing the same game. The war room erupted in protests. Such a thing was impossible. The laws of physics were universal. They applied equally to all matter and energy throughout the cosmos. That was the foundation upon which all galactic civilization was built. But the footage remained on the display. The impossible maneuvers had been recorded. The evidence was undeniable. Grand Admiral Verthax raised his 4 arms for silence. When the chamber finally quieted, he spoke the words that would change the coalition forever. I have presented this footage to every fleet commander in our alliance for one reason. We must decide together how to proceed. The humans have made no hostile moves against us. The incident at the Nexus border appears to have been accidental. They did not seek conflict. They simply responded to what they perceived as a threat. And in responding, they revealed capabilities that make every ship in our combined fleets obsolete. He looked around the room, meeting the eyes of each admiral in turn. We can attempt to fight them. We can mobilize our entire military strength and hope that numbers can overcome whatever strange advantage they possess. Or we can reach out to them peacefully, try to understand them, perhaps even learn from them. And if they do not want to teach us? Someone asked from the back of the room. Verthax turned back to the frozen image of the human cargo ship, a crude and ugly vessel that had effortlessly humiliated the finest military technology in the galaxy. Then we prayed to whatever gods we believe in, he replied, that they never decide we are a problem worth solving. The holographic display flickered and died, leaving the war room in darkness. But the image of those impossible maneuvers remained burned into the minds of every commander present. The galaxy had been operating under certain assumptions for millions of years. The humans had just demonstrated that those assumptions were worthless. Somewhere out there, in a distant arm of the galaxy, the species called humanity was going about its daily business. Trading goods, building colonies, living their lives, completely unaware that they had just terrified the most powerful military alliance in known space. And that, perhaps, was the most frightening thing of all.